How can you create an environment where young employees engage? I'm Greg Schinkel, President of Unique Training and Development and Frontline Leadership Systems, and we need to look at this belief or bias that we have about young workers and how do we get the most from them and create an environment where they will engage in the work. By 2028, we're going to need 4.6 million new manufacturing workers. But at our current pace, there's only going to be 2.2 million people around. That's going to create a huge labor shortfall that could have put a $2.5 trillion dent in the manufacturing sector. So the reality is, your longevity and success as an organization means you're going to have to find out how young employees engage with your work. The myth that we have to bust here is that young employees are lazy and they don't want to meet the demands of a job. I want you to think of that as a myth and not a belief that you internalize as a leader, because once you start to believe that to be true, you're going to find that how you treat people will change, and those folks will definitely not engage in the work that you need. More than half of millennials have said that they are deeply concerned about progression opportunities in their work. They want to see elements of growth and success. They also prefer to communicate more electronically than they do in person. And of course, that's a natural extension of everyone being on their phones all the time, even when they're in the same proximity with each other. So how do we create an environment where young employees engage? Well, I've got a few tips for you. Tip number one is to make work like a video game. I know it seems a bit silly, but if people have grown up playing video games, whether it's on their phone or on a console, I think we should think about work as a similar experience to a video game. That is, from the time that they first start working in your organization to the kinds of communications they receive through the day, that we create these challenges, these opportunities to earn badges and special tools and weapons. Well, maybe not weapons in your workplace, but how do we give people this sense that they're actually showing progress in their job? It's a way of adapting the existing training matrix that we're all familiar with, where you list all the jobs and all the people, and then you kind of check them off as they go along. But I think we could do that in a way that simulates the kind of feedback that we get from video games. Number two, help them look good and feel good. Now, look good and feel good reminds me of the old Saturday Night Live sketch with Billy Crystal. It's good to look good than to feel good.
Remember, you look marvelous, and for me, Fernando, I would rather look good than to feel good.
I guess my accent isn't that marvelous. But the reality is that young people are concerned about how they appear to others. You only need to check out Instagram to see that live and in person. So how do you make them look good? Well, it's about not making people feel stupid or embarrassed and helping them feel good about being on the team. And so you can help them, of course, feel good about their progress by highlighting how they're advancing and mastering different job skills. You can make them feel good, of course, by keeping them in the loop and some of the basic motivation skills that all leaders should practice. And that way, when people have this good emotional experience in work, they're not going to be as quick to quit and go work somewhere else. You'll be able to hold on to those people. And the third and final tip is really to be positive. Now, being positive, a lot of younger folks are not going to put up with the kind of negativity that you may have put up with as you came along in your organization. So how do you create this positive environment where people feel good about themselves and they feel good about the work that's being done in your location? You can create a positive culture even in your department, even if the broader culture maybe is less positive. Now, once you've worked on those three tips to engage younger workers, you might decide you want to work on some of your other leadership skills. And of course, that's where we come in. We have a tremendous program called Frontline Leadership, and it's a program that can really build your skills or the skills of the leaders in your organization. Now, all of it, of course, requires a visit to our website at uniquedevelopment.com. You'll be able to see all the topics that we cover and some of the special features in our program that make it so successful. So I look forward to having a conversation with you about how we can create leadership excellence in your organization.